There's one thing that is worse than an insomnia-fueled night, and that is the morning after an insomnia-fueled night. My name is Fiona. I'm a recovered chronic insomniac turned holistic sleep coach, and in today's video, I'm going to be talking about 5 things that you can do to tackle the emotions and the feelings and just a general situation after a really bad night of insomnia. And this is because I have personally been there myself. I know how horrible these experiences are, and I want to empower you so that you can reclaim your life back from insomnia and slowly start to change the narrative and heal from insomnia holistically. For this video, we're going to jump right in, and number one thing that I recommend you do is to default into self-kindness and compassion. Insomnia is going to do everything possible to try and convince you that you are broken, that there's something wrong with you, that you just cannot sleep, that you have lost the ability to sleep, and all of those things are not true. And the more we actually feed into this dialogue, the more we're actually fueling the cycle of insomnia and the fact that wakefulness is a threat and that sleep is nowhere to be achieved. The most important thing here is to remember that we are not expected to be perfect. Everybody has sleepless nights. Sometimes the difference between you, if you are struggling with insomnia, versus someone who has a normal relationship to sleep is purely actually how we relate to sleep and wakefulness in itself. So if you find yourself having woken up the next day after a really bad night, I know that by default, your thoughts and emotions are going to be quite negative. You're going to have a lot of rumination around sleep. You're going to have a lot of rumination as to how you can actually go about your day if you feel so physically exhausted. And this is where I encourage you to truly practice self-kindness and compassion. I see this time and time again in both myself and in all of the people that I talk to. This need for perfectionism, or this kind of perfectionist mentality, tends to be very present for insomniacs. So I personally encourage you to maybe question that need to show up perfectly. Nobody is asking you to be a perfect human, and you shouldn't be asking and demanding that of yourself. In fact, the more you can simply allow yourself to simply have bad days, the more you're actually reclaiming the narrative that insomnia is telling you, because you aren't in fact broken. You are completely human. You're allowed to have good days. You're allowed to have bad days. And if you feel like insomnia has also been dragging on for what feels like forever, it also is just important to know that this is a small blip in time in comparison to the entirety of your life. This one day, after this bad night, this is just one day. You can get through it, and you're also allowed for it to happen in a self-kindness and compassionate way. You do not need to be perfect. You should probably stop putting so much pressure on yourself to show up in a certain way. Number 2, when it comes to insomnia recovery, this is where consistency over perfection is so important. It is so important to remember that the insomnia recovery journey is not linear. So if you've had a really bad night after consecutive really good days, that does not mean that your whole progress has been erased. The insomnia recovery journey is, again, it is not linear. It feels quite bumpy, but you are overall 100% seeing progress. The experience and the true homework here of befriending wakefulness is something that takes time. You're having this constant dialogue between the logical side of your brain and your central nervous system, and in order for those to actually sync up and kind of be on the same plane, that's going to take time. So the next day, if you've had a really bad night, just remember that there isn't anything that you need to go in and fix. This is where we remember that sleep is still effortless. There isn't anything you need to do come the evening or come during the day in order to make sleep happen. It is just about being consistent. It is about consistently showing up. It is about consistently remembering the teachings from insomnia, knowing that wakefulness isn't something you need to fear, and you will see over time, even if today is a bad day, that you will see progress. Number 3, I already somewhat alluded to this in point number 2, and this is to befriend wakefulness over and over and over again. And I mentioned this for during the day, because befriending wakefulness during the day is equally as important as it is during the night. Befriending wakefulness is this whole idea that we are not fearful of being awake, meaning that we are not letting insomnia dictate the dialogue of how we live our lives or how we go to bed every single night, because we're not living life based on the idea that sleep is going to be protected or maintained. Befriending wakefulness during the day actually means that you go about your day as normal as possible. You still seize the opportunities that you would like to go after because you genuinely enjoy them. You're not doing things with the intent of making sleep happen or protecting sleep. You're in fact just allowing sleep to happen in its own time. So this is where, again, I encourage you not to go in and try and fix the situation or change the day. Don't go about canceling your plans unless, of course, you don't want to, engage in those activities that you had set out for yourself. But really, truly, just go about your day as normal as possible. Know that, of course, it may not be filled with so much energy. Of course, you are tired, and that is totally normal. But again, nobody's asking you to be perfect here. Lastly, number 5, insomnia recovery is asking you not to run away from your thoughts and emotions. I know that these kinds of days come with quite a lot of anxiety, quite a lot of ruminating thoughts. And the more we actually try and push these experiences away, the louder these experiences are also going to get. It is so important to learn to simply sit with our emotions without actually having to have a dialogue with them, without actually having to engage with them. Truly learning to allow these thoughts and emotions to be there will also allow you to go about your day a little bit better. Oftentimes when we've had a bad night, it's more the thoughts and emotions that we have about the bad night that ruin the day as opposed to the day itself. If you slowly detach from the need to engage with these thoughts and emotions, the more you'll also realize that the lack of no sleep isn't going to fully ruin your experience of the next day. Anyway, I hope that this video helped. If you have any specific questions or want me to cover something specifically, I would love for you to drop that down below and I promise to get back to you. If you're ready to also kickstart your journey, I have also linked the 5 Days to Better Sleep email series below, or you can also find my newsletter where I send out weekly information and tips and tricks around insomnia recovery or just general things that maybe you should know or consider. Anyway, bye for now.